Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is Darcy Vendy. He is a 4-3 mixed martial artist competing on February 24th against Abel Brites for the XFC Middleweight Championship at XFC 71 Mansfield Tavern. You get your tickets from eventbrite.com.au or hit up XFC Australia on Instagram, socials, and you can find out more. Darcy Vendy, a very interesting chat fighting out of the Fight Centre under the great Benny Johnston. We've had him on before. Also training with Sam Dobb, who you would have recently saw on this channel, and he's competing at XFC 71 as well. Of course, Ben Johnston competing for the middleweight championship at Eternal. So the Fight Centre could have quite a year in Queensland. Darcy Vendy is real claim to fame if you don't know much about him. He once beat Jack Della, who's one of Jack Della's early losses, who is now the, I think, number 11 ranked UFC fighter in the world from Australia. Is currently taking on Gilbert Burns at UFC 299. Darcy Vendy has had a 10-year career that has been just so inconsistent with fight opportunities, fights falling out, injuries, and we dug a little deeper and we found out why some of those fights didn't come about. And he himself has pulled himself out of many fights, and he goes on to say why, and I think it's a very insightful reason as to why, and not too many people would either do that or, admit to doing it. But I think it's very good. He's a real straight shooter, very similar to Ben Johnston as well. But I do like Darcy Vendy's way of, he's nice, he's to the point. So we chat about all that, and of course his thoughts on just MMA in general and the right mindset and running your own race. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Darcy Vendy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Darcy Vendy. Mate, I have heard your name for many, many years, and finally I get to have a chat with the man. Welcome.
Hey, how is it?
Now, you kind of, man, I've got to kick it off straight from the top, and I don't think you maybe knew that victory was going to be such a big carrying point, but you're one of the very few men to take out the number 11 ranked UFC fighter, Jack Della. I mean, has that just followed you around for a while?
Yeah, to a degree, but honestly, I don't really pay much attention to it. Like anybody, right? He's about to fight Gilbert Burns. You know what I mean?
But is that one of those things where it's like, do you take any notion into any victory? Like, do you pay attention to the guys that you beat and where they sort of head off, or are you just only ever worried about your career and you don't keep too much of an eye on the scene?
Yeah, honestly, not really. I've never really been interested in regional MMA. Even like the bottom level of the UFC, to be honest. Yeah, if you look that hard, it kind of poisons the artist a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you've had this sort of style of, and I don't mean, it's not disinterest, but it's like you really have this vibe of like, I really don't care. Like, I'm just here to fight and train hard and work on sort of my career, but we never see you going back and forth on anyone online. I don't even think you own your own Instagram. Like, it's just, what is it about your career? Like, did you sort of envision this when you started?
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know. I've just kind of never really had any interest in the socials or anything like that. It's kind of just a bit of a fucking cesspool, really. So the thing that's going to actually get me to where I need to go is by rocking up to the gym, being consistent, and doing what's necessary to get the dubs. Everybody loves fucking knocking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was gonna say, have you noticed, at least over the recent couple of years, of how important, unfortunately, social media and that sort of stuff is to get to that next level?
Yeah, no, undoubtedly. That's been something that's been way more prevalent for me in the last 1 to 2 months, especially obviously leading up to the fight. I'm just kind of outsourcing that a bit, because of obviously how important it is. Yeah.
I love it, because I always tell people, you don't need to talk shit, you know what I mean? All you gotta do is be who you are, and that actually rings true. As we mentioned Jack earlier, he will just say 3 words and people are like, yeah, but it comes from the heart, and you've got a very similar vibe. You've also got this supreme level of confidence. Do I have it quoted correctly? Did you say that you thought post fight that you could beat Kamaru Usman right now?
No, bro. Yeah, no, you do. No, the main thing is, bro, honestly, you could put me with next to anybody in the gym right now. Don't get me wrong. I don't have the ring experience yet. That's what's going to be happening over this next year to come. That'll build that confidence for me going into the big fights. But honestly, bro, like the cunts that I've been with in the gym, like I'll fucking smash anyone right now. Yeah, I don't know. There's any like there's the adage of like the guys that can put it together in the gym and not in the ring and all that jazz, but fucking yeah, like I said, it's just a matter of like gaining confidence through these next few fights for me. Yeah.
Where did the overall confidence and belief come from?
The one I'll always refer back to is like competence is confidence. I don't know, for anybody that's seen that like Danaher podcast on Lex Friedman talking about Gordon Ryan and where he gets his confidence from. It's like, bro, it's kind of fucking hard when you're like winning every single day your whole life, not to be, you know what I mean? Nah, but that's yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I mean, when you started this career, did you think it would? I don't want to say take this long because it has injuries played a factor because you've always had skill, you've always been able to beat the guys when you've been put in front of them, but your name hasn't been floated as like the guy that should be next in line and all that sort of stuff. Like, what do you think has sort of halted that momentum over the years?
Oh, the biggest thing really has just kind of been like hanging around people that just don't have their best interests at heart for me. Yeah. Whether it's like, oh, actually, I don't want to delve too deep into that just because, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to talk shit on anybody, especially on like a live platform. You know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
just sort of not having the right sort of mission, and now you feel like you're definitely with the right place with the right guys, and you're heading forward. What is it about the gym you're at now? You know, Benny Johnson, all those boys. Like, what is it about them that is making sure that they're the right team?
Ben is just the first guy that I've ever met, really, except for one other fella, old Tommy Cooper. Ben's the first guy that I've ever met that just thinks about MMA and the way that you should train for fights, prepare for fights the same way that I do and have felt for since I was like fucking 16. Going in and out of gyms and like having different coaches and shit like that has pretty much just always been a byproduct of me going like, nah, this should definitely be done like this, bro. This seems a bit fucking spastic. What are we doing? And then that creating like riffs and shit like that combined with a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah.
Am I right by saying that you are pretty confident with voicing your opinion if you don't think something's being done right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, then at the end of the day, like if you're trying to get shit done, like fuck, there's only one way to do it. And you know what I mean? That's like just by being forthright with who you are. And yeah, from how that's led me to where I am now, I almost feel like the setbacks that I've had back in the day, if I was to get through to the UFC then, like I just would have gotten bounced really easy. Like younger, inexperienced, really just didn't have the right people around me. But like for where I'm at right now with the people that I have around me, I feel like I couldn't really be in any better of a situation to rocket off to the UFC and like get all the way to the title.
Is it training or is it mindset? Is it personal life? Like, what is it that the guys at the gym are doing that's helping you see that?
Oh, everything. Literally, you pretty much just named all three then. Like when you walk into the gym, man, this is the best part. One of the best parts about TFC. I don't know. Like, I don't. So we do the midday session, me and the lads, and in the morning and night they have the general popular sessions on and all that. And I don't know, like 95% of the people that walk into the gym. But when I walk into the gym, every single person is as nice as you could ever be. They greet themselves, I greet back, all of that jazz. Nobody's fucking talking shit. There's no gym politics. There's none of that bullshit. And it's all because it's led from the top by Ben, leading by example. Anybody that knows Ben knows that he's like just the most straight up legit cunt you'll ever meet in your life. Like he's a fucking G. According to his walkout song, he's a working class man.
He really is, and he's got that real lead from the front sort of mentality. And like you said, he is straight up. He's really nice, but you can also tell that he would tell you if you're being a dickhead.
Oh, 100%. Bro, I've seen a couple of fucking instances of that. It's hectic because he's a scary cunt.
Has he ever had to, or has anyone in your career ever had to sort of kick you in the ass and go, mate, stay on track, remember why you're doing this?
Oh, no. It's always been the opposite.
Oh, really?
Literally, bro, I've pretty much never been in a situation where I feel like I'm the one not doing what's right in terms of training. I literally have been training like fucking 6+ hours, like full-time job hours since I was like 17. And yeah, it's always just like a conflict of interests or whatever the fuck it may be that has been, getting in the way. But as I said before, not the case now. Never again.
Is it frustrating then to kind of look back, and you might not have any regrets of how you've sort of personally handled it, but to look back and go, man, I'm not as further along as maybe I thought I was going to be 5 years from the past?
Like yes and no. Like I was saying, it's like if I was to get to where I was, if I was to get to like the UFC and shit earlier on, in the circumstances that I was in, I definitely would have failed. And to be where I'm at now, I feel like I'm tangibly more prepared. Yeah.
And when it comes to this fight, I mean, do you know much about Abel Brites? Did you follow the career at all?
There's not like an insurmountable amount of footage on him. But from what I have seen, yeah, I'm fucking more than confident that I can get the job done.
And did this fight get sort of offered to you, or are you one of those guys that's like, no, I just took a fight on XFC and then they offered an opponent later type thing, or have you been thrown names like over the last couple of months?
Yeah, for pretty much since like I joined TFC, Benny kind of put it out there up front that like I wanted to fight for the XFC title. And yeah, that's kind of what we've been chasing the whole time. Sam used to have it, and he actually decided that he wanted to train at our gym. So, and he's fighting on the same card, Sam Dobb. He's been a fucking immaculate training partner to have. And then, yeah, it obviously just turned out well in the sense that vacant title, you can go up against anybody else that's ready to go. So, yeah, we're here now.
Yeah, I think what sums up your gym really well is the fact that Sam Dobb, who, by the way, I've chatted to recently, and he is low-key hilarious. Like, when you get him rolling, he is actually so funny. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. But the fact that he had essentially like 2 wars with Nick Kepu, and then they just train together.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, fucking everybody that is there, everyone that's training in that midday session has the same goal. They are all trying to get to the UFC title. Simple as that.
And it's like, if you look at your record, right, slew of cancelled fights, slew of pullouts, is that, what do you attribute that to? Is that injuries on the other behalf? Is that injuries on yours? Is that, when you look at that, you almost have more cancelled fights. In fact, you definitely do have more cancelled fights than actual fights. And I can only imagine that that's the only ones that we see. There'd be more behind the curtain as well. So, I mean, what do you attribute a lot of those cancelled fights to?
Pretty much, as you were saying, like there is definitely like half and half in terms of injuries and staff and shit like that. But outside of just injuries itself, I'd probably just say the large majority is what I was talking about before. Like there's been a handful of times I can count where I'm just going there, sitting there going like, mate, we are not fucking doing what's necessary to get ready for this fight. If you just like sign me up for this 10 weeks out and we're not going to be doing what's necessary for the next 10 weeks, you can fuck off. Throw that in the garbage because until we get this sorted, we're not moving on. Yeah. There's been a lot of those.
So you've had to voluntarily essentially like pull out of fights because you don't think you've had the preparation around you to get the job done.
Yep, 100%.
But man, I don't think too many people would say that. And I mean, what if we're talking about sessions per week of what you're doing now and sessions per week of what you were doing then that would require you to pull out? Like, what's the level of sort of how many sessions were you doing in those lead ups to the fights where you had to pull out?
The sessions and like session time and all that would pretty much always be the same. The main thing is the content. Yeah, if it's not literally every single day. Yeah, I said this to Johnny last night. Pretty much from the way this is the way I see it. Like from the day that you come into like a professional career with the intention of fighting professionally, until the day you retire, pretty much every single minute, hour of every session of every day that you train from that point onwards should be specific to the overarching goal. So like when you're out of camp, you're doing long-term skill progression. When you're in camp, obviously everything is specific to your opponent. And if it's not run like that, this is like I was saying before, where like competence is confidence. I'm doing a camp and I'm just sitting there going like, I'm not doing what's necessary to be truly prepared for this guy right now, despite the fact of whether or not I have the skills to get it done. If you're not going in there like with borderline, like, I don't know, just unbridled confidence, like, I don't know, I can see how many guys do you know that are got everything, every tool in the kit, and then they're just half cocked and they get fucking smoked. You know what I mean? And I've just seen that too many times happen with other guys, whether it is just ill preparation or that they don't have the know-how to know that they're actually preparing poorly and go in there, get obliterated, and then just lie to themselves. And their whole team just lies to them about like why they lost, what it was, all of that kind of bullshit. And then we're all just sitting there around going like, the fuck are these cunts on about? Like, we're just bullshitting through our teeth to like keep this cunt happy, like, and then ruin his fucking career and life as a result. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing it. If I need to get to the title, I'm taking the fucking long road.
Were they hard decisions for you to personally make?
Oh, 100%. Despite how I'm talking to you right now, man, like face to face with like people that I like love and have invested time into, I'm fucking the most conflict averse person you'll ever meet. Hey, like,
that must have been, man, that must have been rough because I can tell just even with how you're talking about it. I know it wouldn't have been obviously as abrupt as this, but I know how weirdly sensitive the mixed martial arts world can be. So I can only imagine that there's a few coaches, training partners, gyms that may hope for your demise one day, but it's just, it's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying before, Della, just got to run your own race. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're nice or mean or fucking funny or boring. Like, some cunt's gonna hate you. So, yeah.
It's a very, very fair point. Now, I think it's 7 fights over, maybe 8 fights. No, 7 fights. My math's correct. Over 10 years. How frustrating is that?
Yeah, definitely a bit. Again, like I said, we're here now. I feel like I've got everything that I need to get to where I need to be in place. It's always kind of been a matter of like, say, having like 2 of 3 things or 3 of 4 things, and then just not feeling like I can truly do what I'm supposed to. But now I've literally got everything lined up exactly how it's supposed to be, and it's just not going to fall off.
And what can we expect come February 24th?
A big win. Just I don't know. I'm not really like. I don't really give a fuck how I win at the end of the day, as long as I'm winning. And if my skill sets are prepared well enough, like the natural result should just be a finish. Yeah.
I mean, just even if you're like Alfred Stoddart fighters, anything to go by, I mean, you just knocked out a very feared striker very decisively. So, I mean, you've definitely got a lot of momentum on your side again. So, I'm very interested and excited to see where it all takes you. Why did you get into this sport to begin with?
That's such a that's a weird question. So weirdly enough, I don't know. I just played like normal ball sports and shit like throughout my youth, and then one of my best friends from preschool, Ali Popple, he's a half Japanese dude, was doing kendo, and my parents were like, "All right, if you're not going to do these other ball sports, you got to do something." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then he was like, "Oh, you should come do kendo with me." That's like the Japanese sword fighting, and I was like, "Oh, well, fuck it, I'm going to do that." I did that for like 2.5 years and did all of my gradings except for the one just before black belt. And then he'd been doing it for years and years and was just like, "Oh, I'm over it. I'm going to go do MMA." And I was like, "Oh, fuck it. All right, I'll go do MMA with you." And then, yeah, I don't know. I started at Shindo and just kind of never stopped. That's it, really. Yeah.
Wow. Can you still swing a sword?
No, I've got it though. I kept my gear. Can get into a sword fight with me, Bash, you'll be in trouble.
I would like to see. I would like to see. Do you wear they wear the traditional outfit and everything? Is that the whole? You should wear that to the ring.
To the ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, old Toshi, he'll be. Oh, I'm sure.
Mate, before I let you go, ask everyone this, and I think, well, as you are, back in the mix of the upper echelon of Australian MMA, when it is all said and done in mixed martial arts, how does Darcy Vendy want to be remembered?
um, this has kind of always been a long-term thing of mine, but like my big thing, two big things. I don't know if you follow Jack Slack at all. I'm sure you've probably seen his stuff before. Pretty much everything that I know in terms of striking, I learned from reading his articles. And in the same way that reading his articles kind of like pushed me further ahead of everybody else and like emboldened my life, I'd like to one day be at like a high enough level to where he's writing about me. And then there's other young guys that can, you know what I mean, use that information and fucking improve their life in whatever way they may. But then the big one is definitely just using it as a platform for like people to get a bit more self-aware. Yeah. Just speak the fucking truth. Sean Strickland's been doing a real good job of that lately. I'm that from him. Yeah.
Well,
he's doing
mate. Oh, it's incredible. And I'm really glad that you're back, up the upper end of the scene, and you're getting out there more because incredible talent, and I feel like you've been underrated for many, many years. So I'm very excited to see you February 24th. Mr. Vendy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.